He goes, that's what I want to talk to you about. He goes, the money you gave me, I worked really hard and I got a scholarship. I don't need your money anymore.
The man who made America laugh for 22 years is saying goodbye. Jay Leno survived fire, steel, and a 60-foot fall. But there's one battle he can't joke his way through, and it's happening right now behind closed doors. November 12, 2022, a Saturday afternoon in Burbank, California. Inside a massive garage filled with mechanical treasures, Jay Leno stood beside his 1907 white steam car. The vehicle was over a century old, a pristine piece of automotive history, but something wasn't right. The fuel line had clogged. Gasoline wouldn't flow. Jay leaned in closer, trying to diagnose the problem. He reached for an air hose, thinking he could clear the blockage with a quick burst of pressure. Just blow some air through the line. Simple fix. He'd done it 100 times before. Then everything went wrong. The gasoline didn't just clear, it sprayed. A violent burst of fuel shot directly into his face, soaking his skin in seconds. Before he could step back, before he could even process what was happening, the pilot light ignited. Flames erupted across his face, his chest, his hands. Fire consumed him in an instant. The garage filled with his screams. Dave Kellicky was there. Jay's longtime friend had been standing just feet away when the explosion happened. He would later describe those seconds as the most terrifying moment of his life. Smoke swallowed the garage. Gasoline spread across the concrete floor like liquid death. Dave didn't think. He just moved. He grabbed whatever he could find and rushed toward the flames, beating them down, pulling Jay away from the burning car. Those few seconds of action saved Jay's life. When the fire was finally out, Jay's face was unrecognizable. His chest was charred. Both hands were destroyed. 7% of his body had been burned. The skin blackened and peeling. The pain was unimaginable. An ambulance screamed through the streets of Los Angeles, rushing him to the Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital. This wasn't a minor accident. This was life-threatening. Dr. Peter Grossman took charge immediately. He'd seen burn victims before, too many of them. But Jay's case required urgent intervention. The burns covered critical areas. Infection was a constant threat. At a press conference days later, Dr. Grossman spoke carefully, measuring every word. Jay had burns to approximately 7% of his body: the face, the chest, the hands. 2 surgeries would be necessary: temporary skin grafts to protect the wounds, hyperbaric oxygen therapy to regenerate tissue and minimize scarring. The treatment would be aggressive, the recovery would be long. For 10 days, Jay lay in that hospital bed, his face swollen and red, his arms wrapped in thick bandages. Nurses monitored him around the clock. The pain was constant, relentless. Most people would have canceled everything, taken months off, focused entirely on healing. But Jay Leno wasn't most people. On November 21st, just 10 days after the fire, he was discharged. His skin was still raw, his hands were still bandaged, but he walked out of that hospital on his own 2 feet. The medical staff gave him strict instructions: continue outpatient care, attend regular checkups, rest, heal, don't push yourself. Jay nodded, thanked them, then immediately contacted his team. He had shows scheduled. He wasn't canceling. Less than 2 weeks after fire had nearly killed him, Jay Leno walked onto the stage at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach. The venue had been part of his life for over 30 years. It was home. The audience gasped when they saw him. Bandages still covered his hands. His face bore fresh scars, the skin tight and discolored. But his voice, that familiar voice, hadn't changed at all. He opened with a joke about the accident. My face was on fire. The audience didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then he kept going. For more than an hour, Jay performed. He didn't avoid the topic, didn't dance around what had happened. He treated the fire like it was just another story, another piece of material. When he finished, the entire room stood. Applause filled the space, louder than any laugh. It wasn't just admiration, it was astonishment. Doctors had said his burns were serious but recoverable. Dr. Grossman confirmed Jay had responded well to treatment. No signs of infection, healing progressing as expected. But recovery takes time. The body needs rest. Jay turned down every suggestion to postpone his shows. He told his staff he needed to work, needed the routine, needed the stage. His performance schedule resumed at the end of November. The fire had burned him, but it hadn't stopped him. Then, just as the burn wounds began to heal, Jay faced something worse. January 17, 2023, Las Vegas, Nevada. Jay was test riding a 1940 Indian motorcycle through a parking lot. The bike was a beauty, a vintage machine that required a careful hand. He'd ridden motorcycles his entire life, knew how to handle them, knew the risks, but he didn't see the cable. It was stretched across the parking lot at chest height. No warning signs, no barriers, just a thin line of steel waiting in his path. The impact was brutal. The cable caught him across the torso and threw him backward off the bike. He hit the pavement hard. Bone met concrete. Pain exploded through his body. When paramedics arrived, the damage was severe. 1 broken collarbone, 2 fractured ribs, 2 cracked kneecaps. Jay lay there on the ground, his body shattered for the second time in 2 months. He gave an interview from his hospital bed, his voice strained but steady. "I got knocked off my motorcycle, so I've got a broken collarbone. I've got 2 broken ribs. I've got 2 cracked kneecaps." He listed his injuries like he was reading a grocery list. Matter of fact, almost casual. The interviewer asked if he was going to take time off. Jay just smiled. Doctors ordered at least 2 weeks of rest. Minimum. The bones needed time to heal. Movement would cause pain. Performing was out of the question. Jay listened, nodded, then ignored every word. His performance schedule remained unchanged. Within days, he was back on stage. He wore an arm brace, moved slowly, winced with every gesture, but he performed. He joked that he was getting a frequent flyer discount from the ambulance service. The audience laughed nervously, unsure if they should be entertained or concerned. The American media couldn't believe it. 2 major accidents in less than 3 months, fire and steel, burns and broken bones. And still, Jay Leno refused to stop. Colleagues called it a rare work ethic. Fans called it superhuman. Some wondered if he even felt pain. Just days after the motorcycle crash, Jay appeared at a charity event. He shook hands, posed for photos, smiled when people asked how he was doing. His calm demeanor made people think he was invincible. But the universe wasn't finished testing him. November 16, 2024, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jay was preparing for a show at a local venue. He was staying at the Hampton Inn, a modest hotel tucked into the hills. That night, he needed to get to the parking lot. Instead of taking the normal route, he decided on a shortcut. The hill behind the hotel looked manageable. Just a quick walk down. He'd done harder things. The slope was steeper than it looked. The ground was loose. One wrong step and gravity took over. Jay tumbled down a 60-foot embankment, his body crashing through rocks and dirt. He hit his head on a stone. His wrist snapped. His face smashed into the ground. A fingernail tore off. When he finally stopped rolling, he lay there in the dark, blood running down his face. Hotel staff found him and rushed over. They wanted to call an ambulance. Jay refused. He just asked them to bandage his wrist. He had a show to do. He couldn't be late. That night, Jay Leno walked onto the stage with a swollen face and a bruised, nearly closed right eye. He opened with a joke. "My right eye is on vacation." The audience erupted, not just in laughter but in disbelief. How was this man still standing? He performed for over an hour. Photos from that night spread across the internet. His face was battered, his injuries were visible, but his smile never faded. The media called it a testament to endurance. 3 serious accidents in 2 years, fire, steel, and gravity, and not a single canceled show. Colleagues revealed that Jay still drove himself to every performance. No assistants, no entourage, just a few suits and a microphone. He kept a schedule of over 150 shows a year, traveling across the country, performing in small theaters where audiences could see him up close. The falls didn't stop him. The pain didn't stop him. Nothing seemed capable of slowing Jay Leno down. But then something did. January 26, 2024, Los Angeles Superior Court. Jay Leno filed a petition that would change his life forever. He was requesting legal guardianship over his wife Mavis Leno. The court documents were clinical, detached, but the words carried a weight that crushed anyone who read them. Mavis had been diagnosed with advanced dementia. She could no longer manage her finances. She needed assistance with daily living, and sometimes, according to the medical report, she didn't recognize her own husband. Dr. Hart Cohen submitted the official diagnosis on April 2nd. The report was devastating. Mavis suffered from short-term memory loss and spatial disorientation. She sometimes didn't know Jay, didn't know her own birth date. The woman who had been his partner for over 4 decades was slipping away, her mind erasing the memories they had built together. The court processed the petition quickly. A hearing was scheduled. On April 9, 2024, the ruling was announced. Jay's request was approved. He was now her legal guardian, responsible for every medical, financial, and legal decision in her life. Attorney Ronald Astron, representing Mavis, spoke after the hearing. Mavis does not object to the petition and consents to it. Mr. Leno is her protector, and she trusts him. Jay appeared at the hearing with his attorney. He was composed, reserved. He didn't make a lengthy statement, didn't offer explanations or pleas. He simply affirmed that his greatest wish was to ensure his wife's safety and financial security. When a reporter asked him about it later, his response was brief. "She's fine. Everybody's good. We're doing well. I just set up a will in case something happens." His tone was calm, accepting, like he was discussing the weather, not the collapse of his world. But behind that calm exterior, everything had changed. Jay canceled his long-distance tours. He stopped accepting shows that required overnight travel. From that point forward, he only performed locally, within California, so he could return home every night. Colleagues shared that Jay had taken over every aspect of Mavis's care. He cooked her meals, helped her get dressed, took her for slow walks around their garden in Beverly Hills. The stage became secondary. Home became everything. Close friends described his new routine. In the morning, he walked with Mavis. In the afternoon, he worked in his garage, surrounded by the cars he loved. At night, he sat beside her and read the newspaper aloud, even though she couldn't always follow the words. A reporter who met Jay at a small charity event in June 2024 asked about his current life. Jay's answer was simple: the time spent with Mavis meant more to him than any fame. It was a confession, a surrender. After decades of chasing applause, of filling every night with laughter and crowds, Jay Leno had finally found something more important, someone more important, and he was losing her. Mavis continued receiving treatment at a memory care facility in Los Angeles. Jay accompanied her to every appointment. Dr. Cohen confirmed she was responding well to maintenance medication, but her memory continued to decline. Jay kept the details private, sharing them only with close family and a small circle of friends. He didn't complain, didn't ask for sympathy. He simply adjusted his life to fit hers. In October 2024, Jay returned to perform at a small club in Hollywood. The 90-minute show featured several longtime colleagues. Most of the audience didn't notice that Jay had lost nearly 10 kilograms. He still carried himself with the same poise, still told stories with sharp, unhurried precision, but those who knew him saw the change, the weight loss, the exhaustion in his eyes, the quiet sadness that no joke could hide. This wasn't the invincible man who had walked through fire. This was a husband watching his wife forget him, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Jay Leno's story didn't start with tragedy. It started with laughter, with a kid from New Rochelle, New York, who discovered early on that making people smile was the best feeling in the world. He was born on April 28, 1950, into a middle-class family. His father worked in insurance. His mother stayed home. Jay wasn't rich, wasn't famous, but he was funny. He imitated his teachers' voices, made his classmates laugh. That simple joy became the foundation of everything. At Emerson College in Boston, Jay studied communications and started performing stand-up comedy at small clubs. He wrote sketches, created routines, did whatever it took to survive. After graduation, he moved to Los Angeles, where television was exploding and opportunities were everywhere for young performers willing to work. Jay was willing. In 1977, he made his first appearance on The Tonight Show as a guest comedian. The set was brief, but it was enough. America noticed. From that moment, Jay became a regular on entertainment programs, slowly building a reputation for smart, relatable humor that didn't rely on shock or cruelty. He was clean, clever, accessible. In the early 1990s, legendary host Johnny Carson prepared to retire. NBC needed a successor, someone who could carry the legacy of The Tonight Show into a new era. After multiple test runs, Jay Leno was chosen. In 1992, he officially became the host.